All right, so today we have Valerie Thompson, and you're a very famous female fast person. And I just wanted to talk to interesting people in the community. You know, I come from motorcycle racing myself, and you have a background in going super fast. So just trying to connect with interesting people, network, and create some original content. So how you doing today?
I'm doing great for a Saturday. Thank you.
Yeah, this is the Eric Swahn Racing.com podcast. I think maybe 48. So it's not my first one, but getting better at them as I go.
That's great. I wish I was 47 or number 7 because that's my bike number.
Yeah.
Anything to do with a 7, I'm there.
And so you have been had some experience in streamliners, is that correct?
I do. I have some great experiences in them.
And what they always ask you, well, what's your top speed? You know, and that's always seems like the most important thing, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the safety and the top speed is 100% what we are there for. So, I mean, we're there to break a record of 376 miles per hour, but we're also there for safety as well.
You said miles per hour, not kilometers.
No, I said miles per hour.
That's insane. So I was just watching MotoGP Qatar. It's round 1 of the season for MotoGP season, and they're hitting, I think, 354 kilometers per hour on the main straightaway, and that's about 221 miles an hour.
Oh, jeez.
And you're going significantly faster than that.
Yeah. So my kilometers would be about 528.616.
Wow.
I just had to double check my work or my voice. So 528 miles per hour, or I'm sorry, 528 kilometers equals 328 miles per hour.
Whew. And that's all calculated by GPS, I'm sure, right?
The FIA, or actually FIM, and the AMA. Well, actually, I did this in Australia. So their event is all, it's a purposely built track. We make it into a racetrack, but they measure it just to make sure that we're within what we say we are when we built a breaker land speed record.
And it's important to have it.
Our numbers are always double checked. Our numbers are always double checked. And once you get that ticket to show how fast you went, that's how fast you went. You don't go by your GPS, and we don't go by our GPS because that doesn't matter. And the speed doesn't matter because I don't even look at the speedometer when I am racing. So I just want to make sure I'm, doing all the bells and whistles. I got a lot to worry about inside.
Absolutely. And so are these on, you said you were in Australia when this happened, but do you normally go to, say, the salt flats, or are these dedicated pavement areas?
Right. Our streamliner is only built for the Bonneville salt flats. We don't take it on the street. The tires are too precious. We don't go to sand or any type of, El Mirage. Although I wish we could, just so we could test it, because when we made a little oopsie crash, a terrific crash at 363 miles per hour, we're rebuilding. So we need a little, seat time, but we are going to take some private sessions, private testing at the Bonneville Salt Flats here in Utah, in the United States.
It seems it would be interesting to me to see one of those at a long drag strip of sorts.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love that.
But from what I understand, there's not a ton of hard braking systems on the vehicles.
No, we have a few parachutes that actually slow me down. And there is a quite significant of G-force with the parachute coming out at over, my experience is 328 miles per hour. And that G-force, when it came out, I was like, whoo! I knew I was going fast when I could feel it at that pole. Riding a pro stock motorcycle in my earlier days, the G-force, is outrageous. So, you're leaving the starting line from 0 to 60 in, 1.6 seconds. So 1.06. So, it's like, that's a big difference. That G-force is huge,
Yeah.
So,
and people don't realize the most significant possible force that you can have is under braking, not acceleration, because acceleration is relatively low as far as G-force goes compared to braking.
Yeah, absolutely. The braking is so important. So you want to talk about your time slip. You want to jump, do your happy dance when you get out of your vehicle. At least I do.
I can imagine. And so, do you come from a family of racing? How do you stumble into something like this?
Well, I don't come from family. I stumbled on it because a friend of mine said that I was out of control riding my Harley Davidson street bike down Scottsdale Road here in Arizona. And he said I was out of control, take it to the track. And once a couple of our friends, we went to the track, it was like, oh my gosh, I never want to leave. It was so amazing. I didn't have I had the proper gear. I wasn't going fast. I was probably going 100, not even 100 miles per hour on my fat boy at the time. And it was, we kept going back and kept doing it. I never did a burnout. I wanted to save my tires. I know tires are important because, it is a 40-minute ride home from the racetrack. So had to make sure I had a tire to go home with.
Yeah.
Um, so once we did, I got hooked on it and started racing for a local dealership, Harley Davidson dealership, on the V-Rod Destroyer that came out. And that was such an amazing bike that I had a chance to ride for a couple of years.
Yeah. And so, what series did you race with when you rode that bike?
Yeah, I raced for the All Harley Drag Racing Association, which we say AHDRA.
Okay.
And then I rode with them for about 2 years, and then I was like, okay, I want to go faster. I want more power. And I could have got a bike that was much more powerful. I always wanted to race a top fuel motorcycle. And once I kept seeing Doug Bansell getting, blown up with his engine, and his chest and his ears just ringing and ringing, and I was like, oh, I don't think I want my chest to be blown up, or that feeling, and that, because that is such a huge anxiety when I can't imagine what that
And
would
that's
happen.
still with earplugs and a helmet on and all that protective gear, and
Yes,
that still happens.
it does. So I said, well, I want a smoother ride, and so I went and got a pro stock motorcycle with and tried that avenue and that attempt, but man, it was the wrong time for my career to start going a little quicker with the big boys at the NHRA drag strip.
Okay.
Wrong time, because it was the time that the economy took a downfall.
I see. Yeah. And that can be tough. It's tough on everybody. Like right now, there's people pulling out of sponsorship deals because the company's not selling as much, and it's a very common thing, unfortunately. And that's why I'm not
Yes,
racing motorsports today, is because I had 20 sponsors, but it wasn't enough. So I'm trying to
yeah.
build my own business, ericswanracing.com, to help fund all of it. And in the meantime, doing some marketing, and talking to cool people and learning about all sorts of stuff.
Absolutely. We have to be a little bit more creative when we're on the sidelines. I know I definitely have been on the sidelines, just because we've been rebuilding. And since we've been rebuilding the Streamliner, I was chosen to race a car, which is 43 feet long, weighs about 8,900 pounds. And
Wow.
I was set to do that. And I've tested in it a couple of 3 times. My third attempt, in the second mile, I was already at 291 miles per hour until it blew up.
Oh man.
But the track was, the car is so heavy, and it was porpoising, and both engines just went boo, and I went boo. And it was a graceful exit, but left a little mark on the salt flats. But so we rebuilt those engines. The Target 550, which is based out of Portland, Oregon-ish area. And they got it shipped in the container to send it to Australia during our first year of COVID. So we shipped it there, and in 2 containers, because it's 43 feet long, and we need a lot of equipment, and with 2 Dodge Hemi engines. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Okay.
But so we had a spare engine, and right now, so I missed 2 events at the Dry Lakes Racers Association in Australia. And so I'm sitting on the sidelines.
So it sounds to me like 8,000 pounds, that's a lot of weight, a lot of material going through the earth. So wouldn't
Yeah,
it be better if it was like half of that weight? But I know it has to be durable, and you have to have
yeah.
a big enough engine to produce that amount of power, but you
Well, we
can't
have
make it
the
any
engine
lighter.
power. Yeah, we have the engine power, but weight is really our good friend. It's all about the traction. The traction. You can have a lot of horsepower, but if you don't have the weight properly placed, it doesn't. Oh yeah, I have 6,000 horsepower as well, and my car is 1,500 pounds. So I'm like, oh, well, let's see how that turns out.
So
But
what you need more downforce then.
we do have downforce. Yeah, that's why we go into the wind tunnel for wind tunnel testing. And our motorcycle streamliner has 0.08 coefficient drag. So
Okay.
you could push it and it would still keep rolling.
I love the fact that a Formula One car, I heard this years ago, that a Formula One car can hypothetically drive on a ceiling at 60 miles an hour because of the amount of downforce that it has.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Huh.
It's an incredible amount because they're also extremely light. So if you have that much downforce and it's so light, you can
Yeah.
theoretically do that. Now, I wouldn't test it out, but it'd be cool to see it happen.
Absolutely. Yes.
Um, so yeah, maybe just stick a Formula One wing on the front of that thing.
Well, I'm not going to say we're going to put any canards on it or anything, but we might think about it later.
And so I'm sure there's many different classes of vehicle that they have. Is it all just open?
No, we race in the class that we race in is the world record for 376 miles per hour. It's a blown fuel 3000 cc class. And yes, at Bonneville, there is so many different classes. So you pick your class that you want to break a record. And if you want to go over 200 miles per hour, then you pick a record that you can build your bike around and accordingly to the specifications and requirements that are in the rule book, because there are so many rules.
I can imagine. And even for stock motorcycle racing, you could still change a lot of stuff. It's not really stock, it's
Yeah.
just you can't modify the engine, and you have to have, well, it used to be you couldn't have slick tires, but they've since changed that to make it
Uh-huh.
a little bit more performance oriented without having to break the bank. That's the whole idea.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And so I know that there's even many different fuel types that are available. There's nitrogen, there's ethanol, there's gasoline, diesel, I'm sure solar, maybe even
Well, electric. We got
electric.
electric motorcycles.
So what is that the newest thing that's taken off fuel wise is the electric?
Well, the electric's always been out there. There's a girl, her name is Eva, and she's been out there. It's a motorcycle, but she has three wheels, but she does very well. I think one of her top speed has been 270 miles per hour. And she's built a green ivy, so it's even going faster. And she lives in New Zealand, so you might want to look her up for, a possibility. She's great. She's an engineer. She's, doing her own bike with her husband, along with other supporters. But she's got a great program out there for the electric side of things. And she's got a little sidecar, so this
Okay.
kind of a side wheel, I guess
Yeah.
you could say, not a sidecar, but a side wheel. So she really has three wheels. So
Okay.
yeah, and it's electric. So it's called the Green Ivy. You should look her up.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to her. I'd love to talk to a lot of different people. I've talked to my friend who's a doctor. I've talked to my cousin who's a painter. It doesn't have to be
Uh-huh.
motorsports related. That's really my passion, but I don't want to just be motorsports because some people aren't into that. I want to also bring
Right.
in everybody, talk, why not?
Yeah. There's so many forms of motorsports. It's pretty crazy out there because, it's like, wow, I didn't know about that. Well, and look at this. I play pickleball. Like, you play pickleball? It's like, that's not a sport. Yeah, it is. They got US Olympics. Well, not a US Olympics, but they have an
Nationals.
organization like what we have, and they have rules. They have a rule book, and, they have markers on it's like a tennis, but it's a miniature of a tennis.
Yeah, I don't know too much about salt flats or drag racing, but I know, Ricky Gadsden was a big guy for Kawasaki in the drag world, motorcycle wise.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And actually, Jason DeSalvo, he was
Uh,
He was
Yeah,
a
he was the
pilot
one that
for
was gonna ride
Triumph.
the Target, or not, I'm sorry, the Triumph
The Triumph,
Streamline.
yes. And he did
Yeah,
for a couple of years, I think. He had that ride. Um,
yeah.
and I
He
took
said that was
the
like putting a bunch of live alligators in the wheelbarrow and trying to roll it.
oh man.
And then Guy Martin took over, so that was actually really nice to see Guy Martin in the Streamliner, and never got a time slip that we could really validate, but you know, they say they did XYZ speed. Well, that's okay. Time slips, time slips.
Yeah,
Still love the guy though.
without the picture, it doesn't count, right?
Yes, without, you know what, your screen does not count. It is all about that time slip.
That's the
You're not
bond
a
that
winner until you go through the finish line. All right, he's a winner and great. He's a great racer. Not gonna deny that, but you got to get your time slip when you are specifically on the salt flats. You need a time slip to prove your top speed.
yeah,
And that's what we go by. We don't
I
go by anything else. It's all about the speed. We don't go about the time, that how long it took you to get from A to Z. We don't go by that. We go by the speed because we're there to break the record in the record books and put your name out there for a long time.
so when you're going through the gears, when you're starting out, in one of these streamliners, are you just banging through them trying to get to, I assume you have sixth gear,
I
or
know
is
I
it
have
eight
4 gears.
gears? Four
I
gears?
have 4 long gears that take forever.
So it's not 0 to 60 in 1.2 or whatever it is.
No, we finesse the throttle. If we were to go out there and just like full throttle, dump the clutch like we do in drag racing on NO, I would probably I wouldn't live. I would live, but I would live to, you know, they would tell me, Valerie, hello. That would upset the motorcycle, and there's a lot to it because just as the preparation to get in the bike and get strapped in, I mean, that's exhausting in itself. You know, you're being tugged and pulled and you have this little space and you got this hand and you know, blah blah blah. And so you know, and then the crew has their check off list before, while I'm sitting there, they're still, you know, fancy pantsing around the bike, just crossing the T's and double checking everything, because there's no room for errors. As you know, in racing, there is no room for an error. And we got to get it right, because you know, we don't race with more than 3 miles per hour of wind in any direction.
Okay.
So with that being said, we have to sit there and wait. And I could sit in the Streamliner, not that I'm complaining about sitting in there because I love the seat, but I could sit in there for 40 minutes if I, you know, if I really wanted to, because it takes me another 40 minutes just to get, you know, the vehicle, the Streamliner hooked up so we can actually, you know, go on our official run. And by that time, you know, at the mile 5, because I race in 11 miles, so I just don't go 300 just for a quickie. I go 300 for quite a few miles. So I really am there for about 4 miles at going over 300 miles per hour.
Wow, yeah.
Hopefully I can go 4, but that's just hopefully. We want to be the first motorcycle, just like everybody else does. But we're our team is more worried about capturing the world record, 376, before we go 400. If I can squeeze some change out of it and go 4, I'd be happy.
Sure. And so aside from engine issues and reliability, what are some of the biggest problems that you guys run into?
Well, the biggest problem that we have is just the wind, you know, because we could sit there all entire day right by the starting line. And when they say, okay, the wind, because we have our wind meters that we bring, we have a wind system. And so we plant the wind ton, the whatever, what do you call those? The wind meters, the wind things,
the vane.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So when you plant those, and you know, we got a guy, his name is Pete Manning, and he just takes, you know, he carefully looks at the wind, and he reports it back to us. He texts us and says, okay, it's at 5 at the 5 mile, it's at 3 miles per hour at the 3. Get ready, you know, because it could come down. So in a perfect world, if we had 0 wind for 11 miles, okay, color me there.
And I can imagine, you know, it being so powerful, going back to, you got to be easy on the engine. It's such a powerful machine. You can't just whack the throttle open and because
No.
your tire is going to be spinning up in a heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't want that because then I will be spinning around like a heartbeat.
Yeah.
It's all about finesse in the throttle. And my foot is my throttle. So I let my foot do the talking. However, my controls are two fighter pilot controls that I use to shift and skids up, skids down. Um, so I use those, and it's really hard to balance 25 feet being strapped in, like on the sit-on bike. We can control our destination by our legs, our knees, and we can control with our upper body.
Just
But
leaning.
your eyes go in a streamliner, they only go straight. I don't care what's going on inside because your peripheral is so powerful. As a racer, you would know that. But when you go through the first flag, which is the first mile, and then the second mile, there's flags on each side that tell you what mile you're at. But if you look down and you're looking at your speedometer and you're looking down, I mean, you're going to get back up and you're already there.
Yeah.
Your eyes take you where you want to go. And I'm telling you, you got a good target, follow it.
I'm sure that tracking, if you get off by just a little millimeter,
Oh,
you're going
it's so hard to get
300
back
miles an
on.
hour. It changes a lot.
Yeah, it sure does. And you don't feel the wind. The one thing that's so different with being in a streamliner motorcycle, which is purposely built only for break and land speed records, not anything else, not for road racing. But I tell you, when you're inside, you don't feel the wind. And what you do is I control I control my vision, where I'm going and how straight I am by the horizon of the motorcycle that's way out there in front of me. So that's how I keep it straight. On a sit-on bike, and I've been on my BMW S1000RR 217 miles per hour from a start finish to end of a mile, and I went that fast.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really the timing. That timer was, that was all jacked around. It wasn't working. So I said, we better do that again just to make sure that I did go 217 miles per hour. Sure enough, I sure did. So I went 217 again. I was like, okay, done. I'm
That's
convinced.
awesome.
I went 217. But you can feel the wind on a sit-on bike,
Oh
and you
yeah.
can control it so much faster. And when you're out of control and you're not going straight, you can correct it right away. The streamliner is opposite movement of where, deflection your hands from back to, back and forth. So
I'm sure it's very difficult, and it poses a whole new set of challenges I've never experienced before.
well,
And
what they say is, what you know about racing on a sit-on bike, throw everything away.
um, yeah, it's so interesting. It's just so different. And tell me about your plans for the future. What's going on? I know you said you're trying to repair it so you can get back out there. You've already missed 2 events that you're like to get back out there
COVID
and do it some
related.
more.
Yes, I would like to participate in some more races. So we have a set time that we always do the salt flats here in America. And just like it is in Australia is always in March. Here in the United States at the Bonneville Salt Flats, it's always from August to about September. And there's about 3, 4, 5 events that go on. During that time, you could go to Speed Week, World of Speed, Bonneville Motorcycle Speed Trials, but we are going to do a private test session. And then, so I don't go out there and, look kind of goofy and funny and slide on my side. But it's probably going to be, I'm probably going to do it. Hopefully I don't. However, I haven't been back in the seat since I've crashed. So, that crash it was a pretty horrific one. And if anybody of your viewers, go to my website, valeriethompsonracing.com, and you'll see that crash.
Is it a
That
yard
was a
sale?
pretty one. It's not in the yard sale. However, I just got my tail section. My one of our helpers on our team, Jim Mosier, he sent that to me as like the tail of the original Bub 7. So,
Yeah.
so with that being said, we're going to do some races, and I'm actually going to ride a sit-on bike, a Kawasaki, a Turbo Kawasaki. Their team is called Turbo Tiger, and I rode it last year at one of the events at Speed Week, and that was fun. And so I'm going to go on that again just to get, I'll race anything.
Yeah. So
Three
if
wheels, two wheels, four wheels, you give it to me, I'm gonna race it.
so if someone comes to the Salt Flats during one of those events and they want to ride their own bike, what's the procedure for that?
Well, the procedure is always make sure you do your research before you go, because you're gonna need the right helmet, you're gonna need the leathers, the shoes, the whole entire gear, but you also need to prep your bike by, little things that they want you to do to make sure that no butts or nails or things are gonna come off. You don't race with any mirrors, because you don't want to break on if you crash, or if it falls off, the vibration is enormous out there. So
So it sounds
a lot
like
of
very
zip
much
ties.
sounds like very much like regular racetrack rules. So you got probably safety
Yeah,
wire, no glass.
safety wires. Yeah, absolutely. And if
It's
you don't
sounds pretty
have it and you want
standard.
to go out there and race, well, as long as you got your right gear, but you can always prepare your bike. But who wants to do that? You only have a certain amount of window for racing. So, and the lines are long. So you've got to make sure that you get up there to the racetrack, crack of dawn, and wear your sunscreen, drink hydration water.
Maybe bring a canopy. I'm sure it's
And
going to be hot.
canopy, but make sure it's tied down, because I tell you, when it gets 20 to 30 to 40 miles per hour of wind, you better go there, and all four of you better hang on, because I had my Akropovich awning and it went crazy. Was a tumbleweed. I was like, oh, but
Yeah,
I
I've lost a
managed
few
to
of
salvage.
those.
Yeah.
I think everybody who's been to the racetrack has probably lost or broken a canopy.
Yeah, at the drag strip, at a canopy we were so close, like sardines, we only have like 10 feet in our pit wide. And my actual canopy flew into the other, and being so close and like in a big trucks, and
Yeah.
it flipped it up and took it to the next level, to the next spot over. So
Oops.
crazy wind.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna get crazy out there. That's for sure. And so, is it different having a foot throttle for a motorcycle rather than in your hand?
It sure is. But then when you get in it, it makes sense, because, your hands are so busy controlling your destination and trying to keep it upright. So it's a good foot place to put it at the pedal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how is your parachute pull? What do you do for that? Is it a button or?
Yeah, it's a button. It's a nice little button. It says parachute. And I have the old shit button too. Sorry.
Ejectocito?
What's that?
Ejectocito?
Yeah, I don't have an eject button, but I wish I had one.
That'd be cool. Yeah, you can swear. You
Yeah.
can say whatever you want. This is homegrown. This is no editing unless you want me to. I don't take anything
No,
out.
I'm good.
So, and I see you got your helmet over there. That looks pretty cool. You even got Valerie on the visor.
Yes, yep. That's my signature move. I like to all my helmets to look the same. Sometimes they get painted on. I'm like, no, I want it. I gotta put my signature on my visor. So this is my Stilo helmet that I was gonna race with the Target 550, but I'm gonna use it for my Streamliner as well. But I got a little bling on it. I don't know if you can see it.
It looks nice. Looks nice. And so, it's true that motorcycle helmets are different from Streamliner helmets. Is that a different brand?
Yeah, it's a Stilo. I have to wear fire when I'm in the motorcycle. I have, Streamliner. I have to wear fire protection, so I don't race with leathers. I race with a fire suit from Stand 21. It's a 20 ply suit, so I have 20 seconds to not catch on fire.
And you can
And so
get
is
out
my
and
helmet. My helmet's fireproof too.
do you practice getting out in those situations? And what's your
Yes.
evacuation time?
Well, my evacuation time is 9 seconds.
Okay.
So when we get scrutinized with our race equipment, the race bike, And, we get scrutinized. We have 3 tech inspectors from the FIM and the AMA, and they come by and make sure they cross off our T's and dot our I's. And then they say, okay, Valerie, get your suit on and your gear and get ready for we call it a bailout procedure. And before they come, I get to practice it, just to make sure I'm still in tune and I'm one with the bike. So, yeah, my top seconds was 9 seconds. Chris Carr, the former rider, he got out in 7 seconds. I was like, oh, I'm gonna try to do that again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. It's kind of like trying to see how fast you can do a pit stop.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you guys, you probably can't, this is not a solo mission, obviously. When you go out to even do a run, you have to have at least, I would say, one more person. So tell me about your crew and your team and how many people you have for one run usually.
Well, we have a crew of about 14 to 16 people. When we were in Australia, we had a crew of like 18, 19.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So it takes an army to, get one record. And well, this team that I race with has been the best team I've ever worked with. They are just amazing. They go into the shop a couple of times a week and, trying to rebuild this motorcycle. We're under time crunch, as all racers are. But they dedicate their time and their spare time to the race team. And they've been doing this for so many years. Dennis Manning, John Jans, and Joel Harrelson are the main people that have really started this streamliner, and they've been doing it for a long time. I know they want to retire, and so do I, but I'm not going to retire until I go 400.
That's an awesome goal to have, for sure. I think
I told my husband I would retire at 200.
Well, that's the easy one.
Well, then I said 300, and that didn't work. And then I said, okay, just 4. I don't want to go 5. I want to go just 4. I want to go over 4 in one day.
So I think I've been, I don't know the exact speed because I didn't use a GPS lap timer or any of that timing device for a long time. I just used the transponder for the race organization.
Yeah.
So I raced in the 600 class. So 600, 636 and 675 were the CCs that motorcycles that I had. And maybe 165s, probably not 170s. That's pretty fast, but you only reach that for a very short period of time. Then you're hard on the brakes for the next corner.
Then you got to brake.
It's very different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to get on something faster one of these days, but it seems so far away. It just it's very expensive to go fast, right?
It is. I always say I'm broke before I leave, which is true.
And so what are some of the prizes at some of these events?
What are the what?
What are some of the prizes at some of these events? I mean, you guys are putting in such probably huge sums of money to get these massive machines working. Are there massive prizes, or is this more just a passion project?
Well, it's not it's a passion project, but it's also racing, and it's also being in the record books. Dennis Manning, team leader for us, that actually has built 7 of the fastest 11 motorcycles that have been out there. Now he's on number 8, because we're not going to call this 8. We're still going to call it the Bub 7, because it's well known as the Bub 7. So he said, well, we'll put 7 on one side and 7 plus. But he is a master. He's been doing this for 60 years. And he is the original person that actually created the motorcycle speed trials for us motorcycles. So we can only have motorcycles. And, the car people at Speed Week were having a hard time with the motorcycles. And Dennis Manning's motorcycle streamliner, which is built with carbon fiber, Compositing Vision supplied us with some carbon fiber, Kevlar, honeycomb. So we have an airplane.
Basically, yeah.
Basically have an airplane. And in the rules at the SCTA, you needed a roll bar. So we don't have that. Our whole entire body is built off of the carbon fiber, Kevlar, and honeycomb, with layers. So we have a very unique motorcycle, and that's what saved my life. Crashing at 363 miles per hour. So not to mention all my safety gear, like with my helmets and all my gear too, but it was really the motorcycle that saved me.
that cockpit is pretty indestructible.
It sure is. And we're making it faster and we're making it stronger. And it lost an inch inside. So I'm making sure that I'm going through my proper training. I've been training every single day almost and give my body a rest, that's for sure. But with pickleball, a personal trainer, and going through the Jeremy Scott 30-minute intervals of working out and my pickleball. And then I started shooting a gun, which I'm deadly afraid of. So
Well, you
I feel
should be.
all those three things are keeping me really active. And I tell you, it's empowering me to go faster. So
That's great. Yeah, tell me more about your training. I'd love to hear that. I played racquetball for quite a while, and that's very similar to pickleball, right?
yeah, well, it's very similar. Yeah, it's similar to pickleball is very similar to tennis. It's just on a smaller court. So the pickleball, I like to play with a partner, and I loved it so much that we built a pickleball court in our backyard.
Awesome.
It's gone through the drying stages with the concrete, and on the 29th is when we get the court actually painted. And we just got our lights up over the courtyard, so we got lights, and I told my husband, I go, let's get we're gonna get some benches, but I said, let's get us like a grandstand and really do it right. And then at night, I'm gonna buy this tape, and we're gonna have the black lights. So we're gonna have glow in the dark pickleball.
Oh, perfect. I've only seen it played inside of racquetball courts, so I thought it was only indoors, but I guess it could be outdoors too without the walls.
Oh yeah, it's outdoors. Yeah, a majority of them that are, especially around here and everywhere else, is all outdoors.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Very
it's
cool.
fun outdoors. You get the sun, you get some vitamin D, you get some exercise, you set your watch to pickleball, and I play for about 2.5 hours, and it's about 500 calories. It's just a great fun sport, and it's fast. It's
Yeah.
fast. So I was like, well, this is just, I go, pickleball's not as fast as I am, but it's okay.
And so,
But shooting a gun is like shooting, is like the breaking the sound barrier. So, if I can't break the sound barrier and be like Andy Green and go 373 miles, 673 miles, okay. I'd rather shoot a gun.
and what are you shooting now? What caliber and what brand pistol or rifle?
Yeah. So I've always been deadly afraid of guns and snakes. And I said, this year I'm going to nip the gun I'm going to nip it. So
Yeah.
I am going to face my fear and nip it in the butt. So I did. So I hired a guy, his name is Cody Poole. He's a 9-year veteran in the Air Force, and he came to the house and showed me how to personally hold a Glock 43X and how to, aim and shoot without the magazine in. So with that 2 hour of training really helped me and got me a lot more comfortable. When I would see a gun, I would actually get anxiety.
Yeah.
So then I set up through a gun range, I set up a course with him to actually shoot it. And I tell you, I've never felt my palms be so sweaty. Palms sweaty. It was like I was racing for the first time. And, that gut feeling of that racer gut butterflies is how I felt when I shot a gun. But once I shot it, I couldn't believe I shot the target. There's a few of them that I didn't, but he said I did so well that he goes, okay, I want you to shoot with one hand. So shot with one hand, put my hand on my chest, shot with one hand, did the other one. Then I did a 2-second billboard guy, and I was like, oh my God, I did great too.
That's good. That's good to know. It's not rocket science, but just like racing, as long as you follow a few strict rules that are really important, most of the rest of it goes pretty well.
Yes, absolutely. It's 100%, like to listen is, and that's the whole reason why I'm here. Because I listened to one person, he said, take it to the track.
Yep.
And I did. I was inducted into the Sturgis Hall of Fame in 2018, and his name is Nick Trask, and he was actually in the audience. He's a hamster, and the hamsters got inducted into the Sturgis Hall of Fame, as well as he just did last year. Actually, this year he got inducted. And I looked right at him and I said, Nick Trask is the one that told me that I was racing out of control on the street to take it to the track. And I tell you, like, if you don't listen, sometimes you just got to listen. Things
Yeah,
will go your way, but it takes a lot of work, perseverance, dedication, and money to go racing,
it
to
does.
listen.
For sure. And the racing, going to the racetrack has changed my life for sure. I used to be that hooligan who was going way too fast in the street. And it took me until I got arrested for speeding to go to the racetrack and start doing some track days.
Yeah, absolutely. Geez, and when you surround yourself with, great racers and people that are so much better than you, or, you just learn, and it just makes you grow. And for us women, or for me, I brought myself confidence. Like, now I can ride a bike. Now I can race.
Yeah.
Well, now I can shoot a gun, and now I can play really good pickleball.
Yeah,
Thanks to my
really.
friends.
It does
But,
give you
it's
tons
like,
of
what else can I
confidence.
do? It's just
Yeah.
really empowering.
Yeah, it gives you tons of confidence. And that's, I guess, my biggest takeaway from it all is, well, I did well in racing. So that's why I have confidence. But maybe if I didn't do well, I wouldn't have so much confidence. Like if I sucked at it, well, that wasn't my
Yeah.
sport. I'd move on to the next thing. But,
Right. I agree with you 100%.
it's all about, I guess, your success level with whatever sport you choose.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it does give you
It's
so
like
many
that old
lessons.
hashtag, never give up. Hashtag never give up, right?
Yeah, for sure. So is anything on your mind you wanted to talk about today?
Just maybe a few little odds and ends, like the movie that we have that's soon to come out. I'm not sure when, but it's still in the works. It's called Rockets and Titans. And it's also on my website as the 1 minute movie trailer. But Andy and Chad, the producers, are doing so great fine tuning this. And so we're hoping that, we can get this out and show it to people. It's going to be if you've seen The World's Fastest Indian with Anthony Hopkins, it's going to be a tearjerker, that's for sure. And you're not going to leave without a little speck of your tear coming down, because I think it's going to hit home for a lot of people and a lot of racers that can really truly understand what it feels to be out there and be competitive, and give our whole heart, wear our heart on our sleeves, and just go out there and rack up the miles and give it seat time and throttle time. So, but that's one thing. But, also I got some new gear on my website. I'm really excited. I actually put together, I'm a sentimental person. I've kept every time slip I've ever went down the racetrack, and some of the time slip hadn't been so good, and my crew chief would crumble it up and put it in the garbage can. I was like, yeah, look at that bug, look at that girl, look at that, and I go get it out of the garbage can and undo it and just put it right back in my pile. With that being said, I also have kept every single autograph card, every hero card, that autograph card, hero card. What do you guys call them?
You're talking like those posters?
Yeah, posters.
Yeah.
So anyways, I've kept every single one of them. The very first one that I ever got
Yeah.
to my current. So I have some limit. Some of them are limited because I only have maybe 6 of this card and 7 of that card or whatever. But so I have a nice little autograph package of my history, of my speeds, my sponsors. Always like to represent the sponsors that you've had in the past that helped you get from here to there. So
It's so important. Yeah. And so while we're on that subject, do you want to do a little sponsor shout out to some of the people who've helped you out?
absolutely. So we got some wonderful sponsors. Just we love sponsors. I've got a new sponsor that I'm really getting excited about. And they're called FAST. It's a fire alarm system technology company. And I'm about ready to make that announcement on my platform, my social media platform. And then I have some with my racing regimen, I have some a sponsor for that as well. They're taking my cracking my back and putting me under some good IV drips, and but it's called Kazan Progressive Health, and they just joined on my race team for me personally. And I have Barbie Brown, Best Line Racing, and it's a lubricant. But who else do I have? Got many more.
We can come back if you remember them all, but yeah, it's so great to have the help that you need to actually do what you want to do, and it helps them get more advertising and gets their names out there more.
Yeah, and we also couldn't do it without our friendly composite envisions. You know, they're a one-stop shopping for all your composite needs, you know, whether it's a quick fix or if it's a big fix. You know, they're truly great on keeping us with some good stuff to have good safety.
Very good.
Yeah.
And where are you out there on the internet? Are you have your own website?
Yep, my website, Valerie Thompson Racing, and that has all the click buttons to all my social media, you know, the Facebook, the Instagram, and the Twitter. Um, so yeah, join me, come on board and follow a fast girl.
Are you
I
a
promise I won't
video?
keep you. What's
Are
that?
you a video creator? Are you on YouTube or one of those video platforms?
I'm on YouTube, but there's so much I need to do. I guess that's what I need to work on a lot better. I guess if we have another coronavirus setback, I guess I could work on that, but we're kind of going full throttle with a lot of other things. And so, you know, sponsorship is ongoing. We're still, you know, creating and looking for sponsors. You know, we have great sponsors on board already, but you know, there are room for more. So we're a growing team, and without sponsors, we cannot do what we do. And especially to be in the competitive world, as you know. So we're putting our best foot forward, and hopefully we can seal some deals, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I'd love myself to get a videographer on the payroll, so to speak, so that I could have more video content creation that I don't have
Yeah,
to always do myself.
right. Yep. You know, I got the front row seat to history, so let those other people do what they do best at and do some creative content for us. Because, you know, hey, being in the driver's seat is great, but you know, also wearing we wear our hats in multiple directions. And I guess that's one of my downfalls of, you know, I handle everything, you know, I do have a guy, Eric Studer, that helps me write press releases and kind of keeps all my wording correct. And, you know, he crosses my T's and dots my I's. So, and that's wonderful to have a person like that, you know, and he's been with me and helped me write for, gosh, maybe 12, 13 years now. Um, and Dale Daniels, he's been with me. He's the one that makes my autograph cards.
Oh, look at that. That's nice.
Even though this is the Target one, this is just a sample one of what we're
Yeah.
going to do next time. But, you know, got the sponsors on the back and all that kind of good stuff. Bike specs, you know.
Yeah, those are what every fan hangs on their wall, and I had about 50 of them on my wall as a kid.
Yeah, right. I even have Rocky Robinson. He's the one that owns the world record. I have his hat that he signed for me with his mile per hour. I was like, I can't wait for one day I can wear that hat and cross that off and give him back his hat.
Yeah, most of those cards, I guess, for road racing that you showed me, most of
Yeah.
them are just one-sided. That's why I call them posters. They don't really have
Oh,
two-sided ones
yeah.
that I've seen.
Yeah, we do two-siders. Well, coming from the drag racing world, you know, the NHRA, it taught me a lot how to be marketable and be, to showcase my sponsors. And, you know, and I have the trailer. I still have the trailer since 2007. And it still looks great. I keep it nice and clean. And, you know, we got our face on it, our sponsors, and we are the face, we are the brand, and we are traveling, 3,000, 6,000, whatever miles all around town just to, showcase that. And we're proud of those sponsors. So we hope we can land some more, but, that's what we do.
Yeah, it's about presenting yourself in a professional manner. You can still be yourself and swear sometimes, and like have your own opinions, but you have to still treat the brands with respect is important.
It is. Mm-hmm. And if without those people, we can't do what we do.
And do you do a lot of cardio training to stay cool while you're going 300 miles an hour and mentally being able to process everything? And I'm sure it's not cold in there because you're in the middle of the desert and it's two engines revving at the highest RPM possible.
Yeah, well, so I work in a gym with a trainer, a personal trainer. So everything that I do behind closed doors is I'm preparing for this August race events. And so, yeah, I do my cardio, I do weight training. Whatever he says I'm going to do on this few weeks is what I do. And then we change it up. So the best thing, my favorite thing to do in the gym is lift weights, and I love the bench press. So when I can bench press, oh my gosh, it's so much fun. I love it. So far, I can bench press 65 pounds. I know that's not a lot, but I'm getting the technique, and I'm doing nice and slow motions. Anyway, so that's one of my favorite things to do is the weight training, and my pickleball for my endurance and to be quick and fast, with the racket. That's mentally helping me,
Oh yeah.
to think fast, to be fast, and to be one with the bike. Well, I'm one with the paddle now.
It's about quick
So,
reaction time, understanding where the bounces are going to go.
yes, absolutely. So there's a big range of and I have to be really careful with my weight training because in the crash, I had suffered a little bit of some hurt body parts, and my knees are the biggest one. So that's why I'm going to Kaz and Progressive Health, is to get my back lined up a little bit better, to take off the pain off the knees and the hips. So I can work out and have some really good strength in the legs. And what we're doing is we're just building up the strength around the knees. So using a lot of the thigh and other muscles to build up strength. So yeah.
Did you
I
have
have to
any,
wear a knee brace, but that's all right.
did you have any breaks in the lower areas?
No, no. I never broke a bone in my body.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, I got cuts when I crashed, but
Yeah.
and I got a big broken heart, and I still have one. But she's mending. She's on the mend.
I'm up to a dozen broken bones already.
Really?
But I've never had a cut or an abrasion from all the crashes I've had.
Oh boy. Huh.
So,
So I bet you flipped up in the air a few times like I did.
oh yeah, I've done a few high
Like a well
sides.
for a pancake. Woo!
There's one of my first crashes. I was actually doing it was just a track day, but I wanted to save money by not changing my tires because I didn't feel like I had another a couple $100 for a new rear tire, and I was like, I'll just get
Yeah.
through the day, it'll be fine, I won't go so fast. And sure enough,
Ah.
I high sided at Grattan Raceway in Michigan, and I didn't let go of the handlebars though. I was doing a Superman, like my feet were up here, and I was hanging on. And I came down with so much force that I actually dislocated my thumb because I still didn't let go when I came down. And then I just, fell over, and
Yeah.
I just dislocated my thumb on that one. That was, it didn't hurt so bad when I hit the ground because I was still holding on to the bike, but it hurt my hand more than anything.
Oh
So,
boy.
I don't
I
know.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
don't know
did
if
take a
it's
road racing school. I took the Keith Code 2-day on the BMW's S1000RR, and when he told me to put it in third gear and go around the corner and no brakes and had to go 40 miles per hour, and they cover up the speed limit, the speedometer, like how am I going to know I'm going 40? And no downshifting. I was like, oh my gosh, the bike is going to clunk over like my Harley would, So the reason why I wanted to do that is because I wanted to learn, since I was racing the BMW, I wanted to learn really what the road racers felt when they were racing a bike such of great goodness. And I was like, oh my gosh, this was incredible. I want to do it again and be a little bit more relaxed. And through LinkedIn, my trainer that I was partnered up with, he reached out to me, and I can't remember his name, but he reached out. He goes, I was your guy, that you followed. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, Keith Code is one of my heroes, I guess I'd say, because I read his book, A Twist of the Wrist, and
Oh yeah.
that book must have read it 3 or 4 times cover to cover before I went to the track, and it taught me like everything I needed to know. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why I progressed so quickly, because it gave me confidence knowing that if you apply the throttle smoothly, consistently, and evenly throughout the remainder of the turn, it will
Yeah.
pretty much go well, you know. And so that's how you accelerate. And if you do it in a smooth and consistent fashion,
Yep.
it's not gonna get away from you.
Yeah.
And so just doing that and progressively going faster and taking it
Yep.
slowly, you don't have to. People always ask, well, how do you go that fast? Well, you don't start there. You go
Yeah.
slow and then you slowly go faster. You do these drills like you were mentioning, which are so helpful. Like, yeah, go around the track and don't use any brakes. People
Yeah.
think, well, how can you do that? Well,
No.
you have many brakes. You have a front brake, you have a rear brake, you have an engine brake, and you have aerodynamic brake with your
And you
body.
have a parachute with your body.
Right. So, I mean, you have a lot of different ways to slow down. You could put your foot down on the ground like Fred Flintstone style and try to stop. Um, you know, so there's a lot of ways to do it, and you have to use all the tools available to you.
Yeah. Yeah, when I would race this, my BMW at the Salt Flats, and I broke a record at 208 miles per hour, which put me in the Bonneville 200-mile-per-hour club, which is the red hat. And if you could see it right back there, I
Yeah, I got
got
a couple
200
of
to
them.
300 and a
Yep.
couple of 200s back there. But I tell you, the minute, once you get up, that really, like, once you do all your what you're supposed to do, and you wait for that right wind, you just don't get up at 200, because that'll take your arm off and it'll really upset the bike, and lots of things can go wrong. But when you do start, deceleration, what I use as a very important part is my body for my, it's kind of like my parachute of my body. It does help slow it down. So you got to think of all the little tools that are really accessible, that are right there in front of you. And with the right tools and the right training, and you read, you educate yourself, you can do what we do, and it just takes the time and effort and consistency to keep, your mind out there for, some good fast speeds, right?
Yeah, and when I was starting out, I knew not a single person who rode on the racetrack. I didn't have any friends who did it. I didn't have
That was me. That's exactly me too.
and I
Yep.
just slowly I just read forums. I went to forums. There's a Wera forum and Sport Bike Track Time forum that were really helpful for me. And I just started asking questions, and I didn't even, like, some people will go to an event first to check it out. I was like, no, I'm doing this. I'm just gonna buy a trailer and a generator. I didn't even have a generator. I didn't have tire warmers, you know. I didn't have a canopy. Um,
Yeah.
I just had my street bike, and see, I didn't really want to ride my bike to the track. That was a big no for me
Yeah.
because
Me
some
neither.
so many people crash, and how are you gonna get home?
Yeah.
Or something happens, maybe you're injured and now you can't ride the bike home.
Mm.
So, you know, it's really good to have at least a pickup, so you can put it in the back of your truck, or a small, I just bought an open trailer from Harbor Freight I
Yeah.
built and called it a day.
Yeah. But also, it's really nice that you can bring like the food and to keep us, hydrated, and food is our best friend when we're at the track. I don't like to eat a big heavy meal before I go out there because it makes my tummy all wee. But when I'm done, I like, food is the best way to a woman's heart is through the stomach.
So do you grill, or do you got pre-made food ready to go?
Yeah, we grill, or I usually just I make my package meals, on top of my training. I'm eating clean. I have my certain cheat days, like a Friday is my good cheat day. Today might not be a cheat day, but like when I'm on the racetrack, I'll just eat whatever I feel like, because I've done so much preparation, and but like, I don't like to eat greasy foods anymore.
Sure. Yeah, I
I
was
like to eat
really
at home and make my own meals so I can eat clean and healthy. And I feel so much better now that I've cleaned up my cleaning and my cleanliness of my food.
Yeah, when you go out to eat, you almost never look at the ingredients of what's in it.
Nope.
And
Yeah.
it's so easy to just, yeah, that looks great, I'll get that. And then there's 1,000 milligrams of sodium, there's all this sugar in it. And
Mhm.
I forget what country, maybe the UK or something, just determined, or Ireland, I think it was. Ireland determined that Subway's bread is not considered bread anymore because it
Oh,
has so much sugar in it. It's not, it's like candy. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
they have to call it something different.
That's why they're always, they're on crack. They're always
Yeah,
full of energy.
yeah. So
They got the sugar crack.
you don't realize what's in it. I went to Steak and Shake to get a milkshake a couple months ago, and I was just curious, like, oh, is there like a low fat or like a healthier shake I could get? And I asked to see the nutrition book, and it had like over 100 grams of sugar in it.
Oh, jeez.
So you got to be careful.
Yeah, that's why I like to make my own shakes too, my protein shakes, because we need protein to fuel that body. But yeah, that food's out there.
Are you a whey protein person or pea protein or soy, or what's your protein you go to?
I like the whey proteins, but also have a protein that has like some bone marrow in it. I think it's something, I don't know what that is. It's from one of my doctors that suggested that I get that, just because I'm trying to nourish the knees right now.
Yeah,
So they felt that was the best one for me.
I've had
So
some bone broth soup.
yeah, I'm gonna start making that. I actually have a little recipe that I was gonna look up, and just to make sure I got it right on the internet. And I need to buy an Instapot, they called it.
Yeah.
So I can just boil the chicken in it, the chicken wings or something, or beef bones. And yeah, so looking into that.
Well, very good. Well, I think that's about an hour. Did you want to keep going, or you got any questions for me?
So what does it feel like? What does it feel like when you're, tracking, and you're or in competition, and what does that feel like for you?
I just love it. That's what I live for. I haven't been racing motorcycles for the last couple of years, but when I was, it's everything to me. It's you try your hardest, you put it all out there, and you see how
Mhm.
well you can do. And when I was racing, I was most of the time I was at the front, and I earned my professional race license, but unfortunately, I was not able to financially use it, which is very frustrating. Imagine you become a pro, and then
Yeah.
I got injured, and then I just couldn't continue financially. And so
Mhm.
right now I'm just trying to build a business so I can help fund all of my efforts to go back racing. I had sponsors,
Yeah.
but it wasn't enough, and I don't want to just rely on sponsorship alone. I want to be able to
Mhm.
say, I want to do this. Here's a check, and just do it,
Yeah.
and not have to
Yep.
worry about anybody else. So, I mean, I love it so much. I haven't given up. I'm just instead of pursuing sponsorship alone, I'm saying, look, I'm going to just do it myself through building an entire business. So it's taken longer than I expected, but it always does. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's getting better all the time. I've had a couple 5-figure months recently, which is really good
Mhm.
for me,
Yeah.
and just trying to get bigger and bigger.
Well, it sounds like we both just need to trust the timing of our life. So, once we start building up what we want, and I kind of wish that I went into racing not knowing one person that race. I just did it for fun on my fat boy, and it turned into my passion, or what my passion to ride motorcycles on the street turned into now action. So now what do I do with all this? I had a BMW car, I had to buy a trailer. I kept, asking my friends, do you have a truck? Do you have a trailer? Do you have tools? And this one guy, he pulled me aside and he said, Valerie, this is what you need to do, is my best advice. He goes, you need to go and sell that car, go buy your truck, go get you a trailer, and go buy your tools. And guess what I did?
Yeah.
Probably within that week, I put my car up for sale. Took me 3 days to sell it. I bought me a truck. Friend was selling it. Just everything. The trust of the timing of my life just happened so naturally, and I didn't have to fight to buy anything. And I got me a sponsor. Monster Energy drink was great. It was my very first sponsor, and then GoDaddy.com was you know, my second sponsor. So, they're the ones that really taught me how to be professional. And, having Danica Patrick to look up to her, what she did, I didn't have anybody else to look up to. I didn't have a hero. I didn't have a racer that I really looked up to because I didn't know anyone. So I said, well, I'm just going to have to be the hero of myself, and, and have women and young kids and young men and women to look up to me. And, and racing has given me such a great platform, just like it has for a lot of people. It's a great opportunity to start a business, a side business for myself, but I just don't know what I want to do with my life.
Yeah.
So I do know it. I want to be a pickleball champion.
There you
That's
go.
my next goal. So if I can become a pickleball champ on the racetrack and on the court, okay, color me there. I've done my time.
That's good. You got goals.
Yeah, I'm starting to see outside of the box of racing. And even though I love it, I can watch it anytime. I have so many people that, are my friends that are great people. And, Angela Sampe is, an adorable woman and who I look up to. Now that I know some names in racing, she's one of them that I look up to. And she's quite inspirational. So, she's set the tone for NHRA land speed racers as motorcycles, and a lot of women. So and so does Shirley McDowell. She's also a great person for all that too. But I wasn't interested in the fast cars. I was on a motorcycle, so I have to look for my queen of two wheels. So
Yeah, and it seems like there's in my mind more prominent women being in motorsports.
yeah, yes, and especially in even in land speed racing, when Dennis Manning started the Bub 7 events for motorcycle racers only. I started racing in 2005 at the Salt Flats. He started it in 2004, and I had been to every single meet except for a few of them throughout my whole entire career of my racing. So it's nice now I race for Dennis Manning and John Chans, and it's really great that I can say, yes, that's my team right there, along with everybody else that's on my team. I got Jim Osier, Richard, I got Danny, Pete, it's the list goes on and on and on, and it's but
Sounds
I
like,
love them. They're like
yeah,
my family.
sounds like some good guys to know.
Yes, they are. And they all have great talents outside of racing. They all have great talents outside of, our normal life. So I'm proud to be a part of that.
Very good, very good. So yeah, in the meantime, I've been doing some mountain bike racing and riding and foot racing and tough mudders. I've done 4 tough mudders since I've been
Oh my gosh.
motorcycle racing.
Yeah, I've
So
done a couple of those, not the mutters, but a different version.
yeah, there's all kinds of like Spartan races and mud events that are, obstacle course based running events. So they're now actually the Tough Mudders are doing race events instead of
Oh,
just running events, because before I was like,
yeah,
well, this is just it's not a race, it's just a running event. So it's like I feel like I need to actually race. I don't want to do just a Tough Mudder anymore. I want to do some sort of timed event, right?
yeah,
That seems to matter
yeah, right.
more to me than just doing a fun event.
Yeah,
But
right,
that's just
right.
my mentality. I think that's just because I'm a racer, maybe.
Yeah, I get it. I love to do all those things too. I like to have my mind, exercise my mind outside the world of racing, because when you can go right back into racing, it's like you can get in the zone really quick. Like Michael Jordan gets in the zone in 7 seconds. Well, I hope I can get in the zone at 6 seconds. Thank you, Michael Jordan, the basketball player. But you get, once you get that helmet, you get your race gear on, you get that helmet on, you can get in your zone so quick. And everything else, all the success that we are on the track, also, it really comes from what we do off the track, what we participate in, what we do, and how we take care of our bodies. And
Yeah,
you're an athlete, so you got to treat yourself as such. So
for sure. And something you mentioned Michael Jordan, and it brings to mind something I always think about is Michael Jordan is somebody who failed more than anybody else, right? And
yeah.
so, but he also succeeded more than anybody else. So that's something you got
Yes.
to take with a grain of salt. So is what areas are you guys struggling with the most, like? And do you look at those as good things? There's a Navy SEAL, Jocko Willink, who says, every time you fail, say good, because now you have an opportunity to change it so it won't happen again. And so I just love those kind of mentalities where, you know what, I might be screwing something up or failing a little bit over here, but I'm going to change it so it doesn't happen again. You know, I love
Yeah,
those optimistic type people out there who push you forward.
absolutely.
So um, just trying to exchange ideas and shoot the shit, you know.
That's right.
So
Yep.
are there any ideas or opinions you wanted to share on your mind?
Um, I want to just, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my racing journey. And, it doesn't matter what career path that you travel down, I hope that my interview with you, your readers and listeners can find it inspirational. And, the biggest adventure you can undertake is living your life and living your dreams. So just keep following your dreams and hashtag never give up. And always remember, Valerie Thompson is the world's fastest female on 2 wheels in a motorcycle streamliner. That's a mouthful.
That's a good message for the world. I like it a lot. Don't never give up, right? That's a double negative.
Yep. Yeah. And ladies, if you want to trade in your high heels for 2 wheels, come and talk to me. I'll tell you all about it. I got plenty that I traded in.
That sounds like a tagline.
Yes.
Trade your high heels for 2 wheels.
I have a funny story if you have like 2 seconds, 2 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
So I was at the NHRA racetrack, and I wish to gosh I would remember and know this guy till today. And if he is listening, please reach out to me, because this is very inspirational to me. It was a funny inspirational. And we do need those when we're at the racetrack. So I was holding my little dog. It's a white Maltese dog, and his name was Reckon. And I was out there with my ponytail out, and it was early in the morning that nobody would come out, no fans, but he was one of those fans that were walking around the pits. I was cleaning, my dog wanted to be held, so I was holding him. And he comes up and starts approaching. He goes, "Would you mind?" I go, "No, come on in. I'm just cleaning, da da da. I'm still in my half jammers, jammies, and I'm still holding the dog." And so we talked for about 10 minutes, and he looked at me and he goes, you seem you're high maintenance, aren't you?" And I said, me, I'm out here cleaning. I mean, I drive my own truck and trailer. I learned how to race, by following people and their suggestions and da da da. Like, it took me a long time to get here. Are you kidding me? I about wanted to strangle him for a minute. And then I sat back and I was like, wait a minute. I'm not high maintenance. My dog's high maintenance. And I said, I'm high performance.
There you go.
So,
it's always, most of the time when you think of those great lines, it's like 10 minutes later after the conversation, like, oh, I wish I could go back and say that.
Yep. So what I did was I took it back and I created shirts, a t-shirt, and it says high performance, not high maintenance.
There it is. Yeah, a lot of people are starting to develop their own brands where they're selling their own gear online. And it sounds like you're doing that and making a couple of dollars off of it as well. It's helping you out and helping other people.
Race team, but more importantly is my fans get to wear my shirts loud and proud, and that gives me the quite honor for them too. It's not all about the money. We don't race because it's a lot of money. We race because we love it, and we put all the right steps and our feet forward to do what we do. We created who we are when we are at that racetrack. So, and those sponsors that do come in handy. So I hope you can get your program up and running, because I will be the biggest fan. And one day I'll come out and see you personally.
Well, that'd be
that
awesome.
would be my promise to you.
Well, I'll try to hold you to that.
I can be the water girl or the umbrella girl.
Let's do it. You're signed. So, I do plan on getting back into mini racing. Well, I have never been into it before. So a lot of people around me and pro racers of motorcycle road racing train on mini bikes. So 50cc, 100cc, 150cc dirt bikes, and many other different things. But these small dirt bikes are super cheap.
Mhm.
And when you crash, there's no risk really.
And
So
plus you're already low.
you're already on the ground most of the time if you
You're
crash.
already on the ground.
You can still drag knees. Some people can drag elbow on these tiny machines. They're built for children, but we use
Yeah.
them as adults anyways. And so I plan on getting a 50cc very soon, and just using that to train at the local kart track near my house.
Mhm.
And then maybe get a 150 for some a little higher performance riding, but still fairly
Yeah.
slow. Go up north and tool around in the woods and stuff like that. Maybe do some hare scrambles. I don't know. I don't really have any dirt experience, so I'd like to do
Yeah.
some of that. Maybe a race through the woods type of thing.
So it's
Um,
kind of funny you say that about the dirt because I'm looking into doing some dirt training, just to kind of be a little bit. Uh, Dennis suggested that I go and talk to some people and go to a dirt a training course. And so Erin Hunter Seals, I'm still gonna call you, I promise. I've just been a busy girl, like you've been busy, but I'm gonna catch up with her. She's also a BMW racer at the Bonneville Salt Flats, and I think she did 232 miles per hour on her
wow.
S1000RR, and she's got a wonderful team and a great package of her motorcycle. It's all souped up and it's pretty too. So I do need to give her a call. Thanks for reminding me, but
Yeah,
but I'm gonna try some dirt track, riding. And not going to say I'm going to be a dirt track rider, but it's just for the experience, and for probably for up here too, the mentalness of it, and for the skills. So, racing is 90% mental, right?
it's very mental, and yeah, I don't care so much to do 100-foot gaps on a dirt bike. I want to do flat track where I'm turning left, turning right on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do some jumps. I just not looking to get
Yeah, I'm
airborne.
not looking to do any jumps because I'm not jumping out of my seat. That's for sure. I probably would want to.
Right. And so
I've
most
already
of the
been up in
time,
the air.
they'll take these dirt bikes and put slick tires on them, and now you're on like hard packed dirt. So this
Yeah.
environment with low grip in a low cc motorcycle is perfect for going over the limit, finding it, coming back, not losing the bike so much. And there's actually
Yeah.
a great place, you're out west in the West Coast, I believe. So,
Yes.
there's a great place in Texas, the Texas Tornado Boot Camp. I would highly recommend. I haven't been there myself, but it's run by world champion Colin Edwards. It's Texas Tornado Boot Camp, and they do all sorts of dirt training camps all year round. He has a fantastic facility. It's probably one of the best in the countries that I'd recommend. There's another
Oh,
one closer to me called Corner Spin. They do a very similar thing, but I just don't think it's run by like a world champion. It's just another
yeah.
program. It's still very good, but I plan
Yep.
on doing the Corner Spin one because it's a little cheaper and it's closer to
Yeah.
me.
Huh. So Texas Tornado Boot Camp by
Yeah,
Carl Edwards. Huh.
Colin Edwards, but
Oh,
yeah.
Colin Edwards. He's a road racer, right?
Yeah, he was a U.S. I'm not sure if he's a world champion. I think he won it one of the years, but he's in the world championship
Yeah.
for many years. So very talented rider, and all these road racers are training on the dirt. So it's interesting. They're road race camps training on dirt bikes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm a land speed racer and I'm going to go train on the dirt.
So they have like time trials where everybody goes through the same course, and like they have leaderboards, and then they'll do
Yeah.
races to
Oh,
make
no
it
way.
competitive. So you
Ah,
can race against your friends, and it's like you can even, I think, stay there. You can spend
uh-huh.
the night there, and they have like cabins. You
Yeah.
can. It's like a camp.
Yeah. Huh.
So
I have to bring my husband and put him to the dirt.
I think that you can ride their bikes or bring your own if you want.
Yeah,
You can
I would
fly
need to go
in.
and have, like they would provide the gear and I mean, I could buy my own shoes or, I would get, use their equipment, bikes and,
Yeah.
and whatnot. But yeah, because I'm not looking to invest any more money. I got so many helmets and, our helmets are like our trophies. I only want good fast trophies and good trophies that have a lot of talk inside. Only if
So
you knew what this helmet was saying inside when I crashed. Not that one, but
yeah.
my other one.
Do you
It's got a
keep
lot of words in it.
Do you keep all of your crash gear, or do you toss most of it?
No, I keep it. I keep all of it. And it's so funny you say about that is, I crashed March 18th, 2018, and I wear nothing but Lululemon underneath my clothes. And then I wear my fire suit over it. And it's like my yoga pants, and it's just, it absorbs the heat and the moisture, and it cools me down
Yeah.
because it does get really hot inside. And I wear a fire retardant system. It's called Fast, and it has water through it, and cold water.
Okay.
And so it's like my cool suit. And but when I did crash, I saved all my gear, that I did crash, and some of my crash gear is actually in a museum.
Okay.
So I washed it, but
Yeah.
so it's in the Jim Hopkins BMW museum of some of the items that I did crash in.
Okay.
So I think it's a good forward use.
It's cool that it's being displayed somewhere that it can still be seen by others to
Mhm.
commemorate that event, I suppose. Even though it
Yeah.
wasn't a good one. I had a really bad crash myself in 2015. I broke 7 bones. I hit a guardrail at about 120 miles an hour or so. And I was in the hospital for almost 2 weeks. And they had to cut me out of my race suit and destroyed my boots, and my gloves were destroyed, and my helmet obviously is trash. So most
Yeah.
of my gear, I threw most of it out, and actually I kept my helmet. I had it right next to me over here for a while.
Yeah.
And I finally threw that out too, because I was so sick of looking at it, because it reminded me of that bad event. And I usually keep some gear here and there, but I've actually gotten rid of all my old helmets. It's because
Oh,
I don't want to look at it. I can't wait for the next one, is my thought. And
yeah.
I just don't like the clutter. I consider myself a minimalist. It would
Yeah.
be cool to have like some place I could put it, but I just don't have the room. Like, I'm running out of space, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm not that sentimental anymore. I'd rather have the thought of, I just can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, the former three-time champ Shirley McDowell, she has literally, like, I don't know where her helmets are at, but there was a posting of all her pink helmets. I think there's about 40 to 50 of them. I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
wow. And she kept the boxes, and she
Oh,
has the
yeah.
boxes underneath that one sitting on top. I was like, wow.
That's impressive. I do keep the boxes until I sell them. Like, sometimes I'll sell the old helmets
Yeah,
on my website, but most of the time they're no good anymore because I use
I
them too
know.
hard.
Yep.
But that's
Well,
what they're
so
meant for.
you have good fans out there, and I'm sure that they would want your next adventure helmet. So keep up the good work.
Well, thanks so much. I guess let's wrap it up here. I think
All
we're
right.
about an hour and a half. So thank you so much for
Okay.
coming on. And I'll get this edited and posted in the next week or two. I still have, I think, 3 or so to post before I get to this one.
Absolutely.
So make sure that when I post it, you tag everybody we talked about, and share it so we can get as many eyeballs on it as possible.
I sure will. All right, Eric. Thank you so much, and thanks for spending the Saturday with me here in Arizona.
Very good. Well, thanks
Appreciate it.
again, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.